Good morning, bows and bow ties. Since I'm always talking about my sinuses in the morning, I'm having a halfway decent sinus morning, which means I just took my medication a little bit earlier. So let's get on into it. I don't really feel like, in general, maybe it's just me, but like we're not celebrating much anymore. We're not celebrating. And I honestly think the economy has a lot to do with it. What do I mean by that? For one, people don't know how to date more, right? Dating is expensive. It's done on apps now, so they're not doing it in person. So you're not like smelling each other's cologne or perfume. You're not feeling the vibe of like, when you're close to somebody, how they look, how they're talking. This difference between digitally versus in person, you know, how the person walks, how the person sits, how they lean in, um, how their voice changes, and stuff like that. So when you're not having those kinds of dating experiences leading up to marriage or whatever, right? So it's tough. So right now, I feel like very few people are getting married. So many people are disillusioned. So we're not even celebrating the union of marriage right now. People are like anti-marriage. Everybody's anti-everything. Everybody's got a movement for something. Everybody's mad about something. But we're not like, at least we don't, I'm not celebrating a whole lot. Now, I am going to a wedding later this month. But outside of this one wedding, I'm like, holy cow. People aren't really having a whole lot of babies. At least not people I know. People aren't getting married. People aren't having babies. There's very few baby showers. We're not celebrating baby showers. It's like crazy to me. We're going to fewer birthday parties, right? Now, I just came from several for my one of my sisters just happened to have kids that are born in June, July, and September. So the last few months, I was able to go see my niece and nephews from my sister celebrating their kids, right? So watching them, open their little gifts and eat their cake and have a sugar meltdown and all that kind of stuff like that, right? That's all like the rites of passage, right? Seeing the one child feel some kind of way when the other child is celebrating, you know. I just had my nephew celebrate his first birthday, and everybody's like, "Happy birthday!" And I'm like, "I don't like it," you know. That's all normal stuff that you should be celebrating, right? Watching him taste the cake and his birthday balloons and but I'm just kind of like, we don't celebrate things anymore. It's like we're de-evolving. I don't know. There aren't many marriages. There's not many children being born. My other sister and I, our kids are a little bit older. We're not dealing with little ones anymore. But like, so we're not getting married. We're not having tons of children. We're not going to birthday parties. We're not having baby showers. Let me see. I wrote a couple other things on here. You know what else is happening? People are like, it costs so much to go to school. So we've got people not wanting to go to school. Like we see like there is like a decline with men attending college. But outside of my niece recently who graduated from college, I can't remember anybody graduating from college in recent times. You have kids who are not graduating from college, like because all the kids are older, right? And part of the reason why we don't see, at least around where I am, is because not enough people are are having kids where we're having the high school graduations and the college graduations, right? We're not celebrating graduations. You've got kids out here who have completed college and everything like that, right? But there are kids who are like, not everybody's purchased a home. They can't afford to. Their first home, right? So we're not having housewarmings. I was like, we're not celebrating. What else is on here? Oh, this is my favorite one. I feel like now we don't typically celebrate in an obvious way. Maybe more like with friends, right? But like career milestones. So we didn't necessarily celebrate career milestones, but sometimes if you had like a promotion back in the day, maybe go out to happy hour or something like that. People aren't having these huge career milestones, right? Because we've got like the boomers that won't retire. They're sucking up a lot of air and positions. It's like the biggest grift. It's like I can't even knock it, but the same token, people aren't having these huge career milestones. And a lot also, I think, has to do with, for those who are younger than me now, I want to preface this. I am 48, right? So those who are like in their 30s or whatever, their life looks completely different. This is the gig economy, the hustle economy, right? So these aren't milestones that people are are making because they're just like, well, I'm going to just try to have multiple jobs at this point. There's no big career milestone, at least not that I'm hearing. My generation, we've had some of that, but like those above us are not trying to move on. They're not dying off quick enough. I know I shouldn't say that. But, I was just sitting at work yesterday. I was talking to a coworker and I was like, look at the people around. There's quite a few older people. Now, I actually like working with some of the older people. But the same token, I was like, boy, there's a lot of old people, meaning they won't retire. The one guy was walking around, not swinging his arms, just shuffling along. And I was like, I can't take that. You see a lot of these older dudes walking around. They won't swing their arms, wearing the same kind of like little khaki pants. You know, their coffee mugs look gross because they don't want to wash them out. And some of them are cranky, some of them are not. And I was just like, oh my, these men are not retiring. Some of them are scared to retire because I think some of them may have had wives that stayed home, so they were the single source of income. And where I'm going with this is because some of them won't move on. There are people below them that can't move up. They're not celebrating like, hey, I was just made blah 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 blah. Right? Gone are the days where people could work for like a handful of companies and progress and have like 401k pensions, etc. Right? Those days are gone. So now the people who are below me, they're like, I got about like 85 jobs. I have my main job, a side job, a driving job. I've got my, half of them think that they're going to have this fantastic podcast career, something like that. So they mean podcasting. I don't know. I'm just making that up off of my head. That's not fact, by the way. But like, they got all these jobs. A lot of it is because they've been told you have to have multiple jobs, right? Some of it's because they've been forced to have multiple jobs, right? To afford the economy. They can't move up because we can't move up. And we can't move up. When I say we, I'm talking about my generation. It's because you got people who are like 65, 70 years old still working, not swinging their arms. I mean, there's beauty in that, but then there's kind of like, okay, time to go. Like I see now, like when working with some of the older population, like there's a lot of knowledge. For some of the people, there's wisdom there too, right? Well, a lot of them have wisdom, but and it's great. But then it's kind of like, okay, well, we're trying to usher in new things. You want to have new technology, new methodologies, processes, whatever. You want to be more aligned with like industry best practices, but you can't because you got those who don't want to swing their arms when they walk because they don't want to change. So we don't get these milestones of people now being in a position to try to influence. I mean, you can still influence, but like you want to be able to have the hammer too, right? You want to be in the position where you can influence change, and whether it's shifting paradigms of thought in your culture, your work culture, or whatever it is. The point I'm making is we're not really seeing that. At least I haven't seen it recently. And it could just be me. Look, these are just my opinions. Okay. So they call me a black opinionated woman. By the way, while I'm talking, make sure you go ahead and hit that thumbs up because I'm amazing in every way. I can do no wrong. The point I'm getting at is I feel like the economy, the culture, etc., is such that I don't feel as if it's lending itself to celebration. We don't see that celebration. And I think a lot of it has to do, obviously, with the economy, right? Where we're not getting married, we're not dating, we're not having babies, we're not, or getting pregnant, we're not, you know, having baby showers, we're not celebrating birthdays, you know, we're not doing those things. And, you got me thinking only because when I was thinking about like a week or so ago with my little nephew who turned one, he's the one, by the way. I love him dearly. He's so cute. But when I go see him, like 2 visits ago, I was like, hi, blah, blah. He hauled off and slapped the mess out of me. And I was, I still have PTSD, but that's what like babies do. They just do stuff, right? And I still love him. He's so cute, yummy. But the point I'm making is like, we should be having those experiences. Because right now, I got beef with my little nephew, like for real. Like, we're going to have a conversation. I'm like, I appreciate the way you just hauled off and slapped me. He got me good too. I was like, but now I think we're on good terms. But yeah, I'm gonna have a conversation with that guy. But the point I'm making is, it gave me time. I paused to watch over the last few months the different birthday parties or whatever. Watch how, like they're playing with their toys and stuff like that, or like, whatever. We're excited about like the dumbest things, like, look, she brought me candy. Thanks, Auntie. I have candy. Like, because I know that my sisters are gonna be like, no, you can't have that. I'm like, Auntie loves you. Give it right to them because I remember how they did me. But, we're not celebrating any of these things. Like watching young people graduate college and now they're out in the world and maybe they want to buy their first little condo or home, or you know what I mean? Like, I'm not seeing these things. I'm not seeing enough of that transition. I mean, of course, with my current crop of nieces and nephews, yeah. Right now, I had to get on my other sister because her son is graduating high school this year. And I was like, she's like, I don't know if I'm going to do a party. I think I'm just going to take him on a trip. I'm like, you can take him on a trip, but you're going to have a celebration too. Because I need one. It doesn't have to be a big one. We can have a small one. But I'm just like, we don't celebrate anything anymore. We don't celebrate. So I say this. I don't even know what point I was having other than the fact that I was just saying we don't celebrate anything anymore. I do think it's tied to the economy, of course, but I don't have a major point after that. I just feel like there's been a culture shift, based off of, I think, where we are in the economy and the access to information. That people are so disillusioned on everything. So we've got men and women out here in this world hating each other. I mean, like literally not liking each other. They build whole platforms to sit there and talk about each other all the time, like about how men ain't shit, women ain't shit. I'm like, oh my. So now, granted, I do live in my protected bubble, um, but I observe, and I hear many of you out there losing your mind on, you know, these apps. But yeah, we're not celebrating anymore. I outside of my family, I can't remember the last time I've been to. Well, no, I did miss a bridal shower because I was out of town. Like I said, I am going to a wedding this month. My husband's niece is getting married, but kids aren't getting married. Kids aren't graduating from college anymore. kids aren't able to have these career milestones because the people in front of them can't move up because the boomers won't retire. So they're walking around not swinging their arms. People aren't getting, they're not dating, they're not marrying, they're not getting pregnant, they're not having babies, we're not seeing kids have birthday parties. I mean, people aren't being slapped by their now 1 year old nephew. I mean, he got me good. I'm telling you, I have beef with this cat. It didn't even make any sense. His cute self. I can't even be mad at him. I still got beef with him now. All right, so I mean, I just wanted to just put that out there because that's where I'm at with it. There's no, I don't really have a plan. It's more of an observation. All right, I'm just gonna get off now because I don't know what else to say.